Hello, Commanders fans! Today we have some hot news that you can't miss, so get ready because there's a lot of important information coming your way. Before we begin, we'd like to take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and stay up to date on all the news about our Washington Commanders. Don't forget to leave a like, which greatly strengthens our community and helps bring this content to the most passionate fans of the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news.
Timely surgery puts an elite free agent in the Commanders' sights. Timing is everything. It's no secret that the Washington Commanders need reinforcements on defense this offseason. Fans were quite concerned about this position before the start of the season, and despite general manager Adam Peters having a different opinion, they were right. Injuries have exposed the Commanders' glaring lack of depth at the edge rusher position. Generating pressure has been difficult throughout the season, especially after the injury to rising star Dorrance Armstrong Jr. A significant overhaul is needed during the offseason, and it would be unpleasant if this unit wasn't completely different when preparations for the 2026 season begin to gain momentum. How Peters will handle this is an unknown. The Commanders could have a top 5 draft pick if the losing streak continues, which puts them in a great position to sign someone like Ruben Bain Jr. or David Bailey. They also need over $100 million in salary cap space to acquire 1 or 2 experienced veterans, depending on who is available on the market. Trey Hendrickson's current situation may increase the Commanders' interest. Trey Hendrickson may be the best of the bunch. The All-Pro defensive end signed a new contract with the Cincinnati Bengals after a long standoff, but without a contract extension. He will be a free agent next spring, Northern Hemisphere, and a notable development may indicate that he has already played his last game for the AFC North team. ESPN's Adam Schefter revealed that Hendrickson will undergo surgery to resolve a persistent problem that has lasted for several weeks. This is the best way to recover and will also put the NFL sack leader in 2023 and 2024 on the path to recovery before the start of the free agent season. Trey Hendrickson is scheduled to undergo abdominal surgery this week, which should sideline him for approximately 6 weeks, according to sources. Hendrickson initially suffered the injury during Week 6 against the Green Bay Packers and attempted to return to play 2 weeks later against the New York Jets. The injury did not improve with the recommended rest and rehabilitation performed by the team and will now require treatment. Hendrickson likely had no choice, but speculation abounds. His relationship with the Bengals soured drastically over the summer. It's unlikely they'll offer him the salary he wants, but there would be no shortage of suitors if both sides went their separate ways. The Commanders need an elite pass rusher to play alongside Armstrong. Opting for a drafted player would be cheaper, but it all depends on Peters' assessment of the team at this point. If he believes injuries are the root of Washington's failure this season, betting heavily on someone like Hendrickson cannot be entirely ruled out.
Why will the Commanders miss Zach Ertz so much on offense? The Washington Commanders suffered a huge blow to their offense. Starting tight end Zach Ertz tore his anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, during the Week 14 loss to the Minnesota Vikings and is officially out for the remainder of the 2025 season. The injury not only ends the veteran's year, but also forces the team to completely reorganize its offensive plan. Ertz was a central piece of Dan Quinn's scheme, especially due to his experience, leadership, and technical ability. Ertz's importance on the locker room and on the field. Head coach Dan Quinn highlighted the impact Ertz had from day one in Washington, literally. He was the first person GM Adam Peters signed here, and he brought so much to the team. What struck me most were his habits, doing more than is asked, not getting bored with the details, whether it's footwork, routes, technique, or repetition. Quinn emphasized that Ertz was a perfect example of a player who builds success through consistency. He repeated the same actions every day, without ever getting tired. These are elite habits, and that's what we want to establish in our program. He made a huge impact, not only through production, but through the standard of excellence he brought. How the Commanders will cope with Ertz's absence. Without the veteran, Washington needs to improvise in the short term. For the 4 remaining games of the season, the tight end group will consist of John Bates, TE2, mostly used as a blocker but capable of contributions in the passing game, Ben Sinnott, rookie, versatile with potential to take on more responsibilities, and Colson Yankoff, a deeper option in the rotation and still developing. The coaching staff must distribute roles and adjust formations to try to compensate for the loss of one of the most reliable players on the roster. Perspectives for the future of the position. The situation also raises questions about Ertz's future in Washington. The tight end just turned 35, and recovery from an ACL tear typically takes between 9 and 12 months, which makes it unlikely he'll be available for the start of the 2026 season, and could mean the end of his time with the Commanders or even his NFL career.
Washington Commanders provide positive update on Jayden Daniels' injury. The Washington Commanders released a new and encouraging update on the health of quarterback Jayden Daniels, who continues his recovery after an elbow injury aggravated in the last game against the Minnesota Vikings. Daniels had been dealing with the problem since Week 9, when he suffered the initial injury in the game against the Seattle Seahawks. Although he progressed well over the following weeks, the young quarterback may have returned to the field a little too soon. In Week 14, against the Vikings, Daniels returned to action. However, during a play in which he was tackled, he ended up falling directly on his injured elbow. The intense pain forced him to leave the game immediately, raising concern among fans and coaching staff. Fortunately, the exams did not indicate serious damage or structural problems that could affect his career. Coach Dan Quinn provided more details about the situation after the game. He ended up falling directly on his elbow. It's sore, and the doctors evaluated him today, Quinn stated. The good news is that there are no long-term concerns. We will continue to monitor his progress throughout the week. I don't yet have a definitive update on his status for the next game, but the important thing is that there is nothing serious that puts his future at risk. Despite the initial relief, doubt remains about Daniels' return for the remainder of the season. With only 4 games left on the schedule and no playoff chances, there is internal debate about the real need to put the quarterback back on the field at this time. For Quinn and his team, the decision involves a delicate balance between the young QB's development and preserving his health. That's the tricky balance, the coach explained. You try to protect the player with protective adjustments, running instructions, slides, but on certain plays, like the one where he fell, there's not much you can do. We're evaluating how the practices help his development, how he's applying the lessons, and at the same time thinking about the team's competitiveness and the player's protection. It's a combination of everything. Given this scenario, Daniels' status for Week 15 remains uncertain. The Washington Commanders are preparing to face the New York Giants on the road in a game scheduled for Sunday at 3 p.m. Brasilia time. The medical team and coaching staff will continue to evaluate the quarterback throughout the week, and a final decision should be made closer to game day.